All right, we're live. Welcome back to Finding Truth podcast on Unscripted Truth TV. Logan here with Austin for Big 38, got the 38 special. Uh, today, we will be going over, as usual, the results of the Nascar race that just finished up here a couple hours ago. We'll be looking ahead to next week as well with a lot of implications with this race. There's some standout numbers like three, and we'll talk about all of that. But with it being an international race next week, I'm like invisible. We'll kind of look ahead. There's some interesting facts about the place that this next race is taking place, and we'll try to key in on a potential call for next week as well. And then we will be continuing our series on, we need to come up with a title for our series. Maybe I'll even make it a sub playlist as well. But our continued talk on with relationships as the larger context, but there's so many other ways to include that or include things into that, such as tonight's, which is we're going to be talking about kind of the naivety of people. There's a lot of things going on this past week that we'll use as the crescendo for our discussion. But this going back to some of the quote unquote tragedies or hoaxes that have taken place in our lifetimes, and maybe even before, if we can think of any. We'll talk about what effect that had on the public, and should it have, and should we be this naive, or should we be more, I guess pessimistic is the word, and paranoid, some would call it, and sniff these things out sooner and snuff them out sooner before they get a hold on humanity, as we've seen with things like 9/11 and COVID and such. But yeah, well, I think that's going to be a long enough topic to where that should finish us out. But yeah, without further ado, sorry for the long intro. How's it going, Austin?
It's not bad. It's a sunny, warm day. It's about 90 degrees. It's going to be about another 90 tomorrow. Yeah, it was just another pretty solid week. Just good start of June. We had our first episode of June last week, and yeah, we're at the 12 more days. It'll be the longest day of the year, June 20th, and yeah, we're cooking right now. Yeah, it was a pretty good week. Overall, I guess I'd say Monday hung out with my friend from class again and stuff. It was our second time hanging out. I stayed over there Tuesday. I came back. It was kind of like a lazy day. I kind of felt like I kind of had I know she was kind of had a cold, or she was kind of sick or whatever. I felt like I kind of had somewhat of a cold a couple days after that too, for a few days. Like Tuesday I was tired. Wednesday I was kind of tired, achy. Thursday kind of, then Thursday, Friday I kind of got back into things. Yesterday I did some yard work and stuff, and hands all blistered up. Can't even feel half of my one finger. But yeah, other than that, it was a pretty good week. I mean, good to get out and just kind of live a little bit right now and do what I got to do. It's like I said, it's nice that it's sunny and warm and sunshine. We're at that good time of year, and it's very important to enjoy it right now, because it doesn't, it goes by before you know it. And that's what I'm trying to make the most every day. Just be up early, get that vitamin D, and do what I got to do. And yeah, I'd say it's a pretty good week, and hopefully this month turns out to be a pretty good productive month. I mean, everything I got to do is pretty much for the most part out of the way, so there's not too much to worry about at this point. But yeah, I mean, it was stuff to look forward to. I mean, 39, 40 upcoming weeks. So yeah, it's going to be, we got some good episodes coming up with this relationship kind of spin-off topic. I like what we're doing. It's kind of giving people different things I think tonight will be another good one. Hopefully more people can give us some feedback or something. Or I'll come up with some ideas for next week and the week after. I know we got so much to talk about when it comes to these topics and stuff. And yeah, other than that, I mean, pretty much, I guess we can get into the Yahoo Michigan race with Denny's Hamlin.
Big Denny's, the Grand Salami Man. Let's pull it up, shall we? Of course, I wasn't ready for this. And we were yapping. So yeah, Hamlin. You know, do you even remember what our predictions were last week? We thought Blaney could have been a potential two-peat. I think we mentioned that potentially, but didn't we hone in on somebody based on either Michigan or I honestly don't remember.
I honestly don't either.
That's kind of weird because I've not ever forgotten what our prediction was. I don't know if we put out like I definitely know we didn't put out any kind of like hard prediction because we, didn't go over too much about it last week. But I don't even remember who I was leaning, which is kind of odd. I have to go back and try to remember what we said about this week. But with it, having taken place, one thing that's definitely stands out. Was it Michigan itself? Yeah. You got, like you said, in the Yahoo car, Hamlin coming through, 64, just like Yahoo. Let me make that a little bigger. And Yahoo also has the 17 and the 28, just like Mason. And I would say the upper echelon of 23XI's racing core, being Hamlin and Michael Jordan, are pretty likely Masons. So, if not confirmed, it's interesting. We might want to do some digging. You never know how easy it is that some people might be openly Masons, and that could just be something to know moving forward. Let's see. Oh, shut up. I'm asking a specific question. I love that though. This is what I've been talking about for what, 5 weeks straight, is ever since the appearance of like this being the forefront of the conversation with this whole injunction between 23XI, Jordan, and Hamlin threatening to potentially quit and to go to the Xfinity series. That I'm telling you guys, there's been a concerted effort to put numbers and narratives really in their favor. I don't know how that exactly works on the grand scale. Is it to throw off people? I don't know. But either way, not only have the numbers been in their favor, but they have been there every week. I'm telling you, Reddick and Hamlin have been on fire, being there right at the end of at the end of races and just not finishing well, or not, maybe not finishing well, but not winning, and very Byron-esque. But it's just such. I mean, the last 2 weeks, I have been extremely vocal about the potential for, or sorry, the 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago, the first 2 weeks of 3 weeks ago, I don't know how to say that. 3 weeks ago, during the two races in Charlotte, the 600 and the All-Star race. These are, outside of Charlotte, but very near. And of course, with that being, key to Jordan, him having gone to North Carolina during college and things of that nature. So I was, huge on them potentially picking up a win, and neither, not in the All-Star race or the Coke 600 did they win. But, a race after, of course, we had Blaney last week. They're right back in there. So I don't know. There's something. I was talking to you before, and I really do think that this could either be a calling card for a veteran to, like you said, like you mentioned to me, get his first championship win, and the two narratives that are at play are pretty interesting. I could see them easily saying this is a FU to NASCAR and the white ownership that is holding these positions of power. Think about these narratives, guys, how these white positions of power are being torn down for this pendulum swing we're going through. And think about how Jordan at the helm, which, by the way, using Jordan as like a lower tier person, he's higher than 99% of all white people on this world, but they'll use him as a character to say that he's fighting oppression at the top of NASCAR because they're not. Why I'm saying this is because their injunction that I've been talking about for 4 or 5 weeks straight for teams to qualify to be not either no for teams new teams to be included into the auto qualifying. I don't remember the exact way it was worded, but basically he wants his team to be up there with like Hendrick and other ones that get the auto qualifying stuff. Anyway, that got thrown out just this last week, during last week. Yeah, I think it might have even been yesterday or the day before. And what do you know? There's Hamlin to pick up his win, right after it. And what are some of the look at this. A day ago, just 1 day ago, they already had this queued up. Denny Hamlin is unfazed at a three judge as he picks up his third win, by the way.
Federal third win in Michigan too.
Oh, damn. I didn't know about that one. Appellate panel vacated an injunction that required NASCAR to recognize 23XI. It would go on to say that recognize them as a team that doesn't have to qualify. Anyway, we've gone over this in previous episodes. You can go back and watch. But yeah, I've been telling you this narrative has been, really poking through as like one of the main focal points this season. And now you have Denny kind of cementing himself, not only picking up his third win, but it's right after this whole thing gets thrown out. And point being, like, this could be either a piece to a larger calling card for the eventual championship, or at least the playoffs, or because they love this wouldn't be an underdog. This would be kind of like a Brady potential send-off. You have already narratives going that he might retire, not maybe from racing, but from the NASCAR Cup Series. And I don't know. What do you think about the narratives that are playing out, at least having to do with Denny Hamlin, and then 23XI, and then we can move on to other drivers or teams.
Yeah, it's very interesting. You have Denny Hamlin, and you have Byron too. Kind of two people that I could be upsetting the Ford, the Ford piece. I'm wondering too. I mean, Denny Hamlin started like 20 years ago, and you got like Byron, Gordon has the first championship third years ago. So could we see some kind of tribute with that, and then like I said, there's the Ford P narrative and the Ford Mustang and Donald Trump with the Ford Cypher map. But I think this Denny Hamlin thing it's interesting. He's been around for so long and hasn't won yet. So something that I might like he's got the three wins. I mean, you just got the fifth, seventh. So you got to wonder, is this finally here going to be wrapping it up, and I'm finally going to give it to him, or is something else going to give? It's very interesting. Yeah, I think he's going to be someone we'll have to see how the playoffs go. If he's someone that even kind of advances to the final four, or are they going to kind of take him out early and be like, oh, I'm done. I'm going down to the the bottom series, or is it going to be a big sell-off for the 11 big master numbers? Because I mean, when 11 hasn't won a championship for as long as I know. Been a long time. So could that be a big signature for 2025?
These are good questions, and I think these narratives are really, poking through, and slowly we're able to build on these based on what they're giving us, and of course there's a lot of media that comes out that we don't catch. We're not going to catch all this stuff. First of all, I don't watch SportsCenter anymore. I'm assuming you don't. So there's a lot of narratives and stuff that I'm sure pieces to the puzzle that we're missing, that they, at the end of the day, these things are basically to fuel Vegas. That's, the things that the levers that move up and down. I believe, yes, there are, rituals that have to do with more occultic and esoteric principles, but there's still the biggest lever is still the cash, the slot machine lever, the Vegas lever that controls the money and where it's going. So I do think that still, the main purpose of these narratives is to drive people to bet one way or another, as it always has been. It's already been proven. In fact, they brag about it. If you guys don't know, every end of season they have casino gambling, what are they called, line experts, come in from Vegas and tell you who's the best to bet on based on lines of the past. Like, they know this, they're tracking this stuff. First of all, how evil. If you were really a sports network, you wouldn't even agree with the gambling aspect of sports, because look at how many times it's affected the trueness, I can't think of the right word, of the game. Pete Rose and all these, other aspects, in the NFL, there's been several things where the referees have been setting up games or whatever. All these things can all be scams or true. I could care less. But you as a fan, or at least even if you use it as a monetary source and you bet on it, you have to sit there knowing that these levers hold the power to these games, and it's not necessarily the skill on the field or on the track. But you just have to keep going with it. I mean, in basketball right now, you got the finals, and look at Halliburton hitting the big time shots to close out the Knicks, and now he's hitting more game winners against OKC, and he's doing it in amazing fashion with, is it magic or is it magnets? Have you seen that highlight where Karam's way off the rim? And, imagine doing that. I'm sure that happens, once a season on average, probably less than half a time a season does a shot like that make it in the NBA, with all games being played and all those shots being taken at the rim. But in the playoffs, with the most publicized player of said playoffs at this point, Halliburton, not to mention, I could go off about Halliburton Oil too. But it's a shame.
Yeah, the technology they got always have that technology in all the sports. Use it, whether it's basketball or soccer, football, or NASCAR, whatever it is. There's always some kind of technology to something. But yeah, I don't hear that. Like I'm echoing on you. I don't know if you can hear that, but every time I talk, all of a sudden I can hear myself. I'm hearing that on my end.
It's not on my end personally. It is a little bit it's not echoey, but it's like kind of like bouncing off the walls a little bit, but it's not echoing. Would you be able to just hop right back in if you left? That's the only thing I can think of.
Yeah, because when I first started, it wasn't doing that, and then all of a sudden it started doing that, so that's why I'm confused.
Yeah, for me, it's just a little bit kind of drawn out at the end of words. Hopefully, I wouldn't imagine if it's not echoing on my end, it shouldn't come through in the recording because this is a native recording from on my end. But if it's, I can only imagine it'd be unbearable to hear the echo from your end.
Yeah, I just keep hearing myself over when I say something. But when I start talking, like 10 minutes ago, I didn't hear it. All of a sudden, it just started. So I don't know why it would do that.
Me neither. I muted and unmuted you, but I don't know if that'll do. I don't know if there'd be something I could do.
That's really weird.
You sounded great right there.
That's clear. Still doing it. I don't know why it's doing that. Very strange.
I have echo cancellation on and everything for your mic. Keep talking.
Yeah, I don't know what.
Okay, whatever I just did is making it like I hit reduce mic background noise and it made it staticky. So
yeah, because I don't know why it wouldn't have been doing that. Then I'll start doing it because I didn't bump nothing either. Weird.
Well, would you want to try to leave and come back real quick?
Yeah, I can try to do that.
Okay, try that.
Okay.
All right, bear with us, folks. It's we're having to do things a little bit differently. We got Austin in his vehicle, in a spot that's not necessarily the best reception. So we do get a little bit of feedback every once in a while. I'm sure you guys have noticed in the last couple of videos. It is what it is for now. Things will change and evolve, and hopefully in a good way moving forward. Let me double check and send him an invite just in case the other one is not the animal. But to fill in for now, oh, here he is. Go ahead.
Yo.
Is it echoing for you?
Yeah, it's still echoing. Very weird.
It is a little bit choppy through the audio that I'm getting, but it's definitely not echoing.
Yeah, when we started, it wasn't echoing at all. Like 10 minutes in, it started echoing. I don't know why how that would change. Very strange.
Let me do a quick search, just maybe echo on StreamYard. What I would assume is it's something to do with the phone settings through the microphone.
That's so weird how that would change like that too.
What are your volume settings right now on your phone? Do you have an audio and media volume? It says turn down the volume all the way on one of them, either the audio or the media. There'll be like a music symbol volume and then a different one. Like it looks like the normal like speaker.
I turned down media. Still doing it. Huh.
Are they try to just turn the volume down on all of them just for now? Because I should still be able to hear you. But I guess you wouldn't hear you if you echo. That's all it says. I can see if I have randomly too. It's the same one it runs through all the time for me. Which either way, it's definitely on your end because I couldn't even affect you. If I was echoing, it could be on my end, but
that's so weird. How it wasn't doing that, and then it started out of the blue. Can't think of why that would be.
Does it echo every word you say?
Yeah, every word I say is echoing.
Because sometimes like you're coming through really clear, and other times it's doing that little drawn out thing. It's still fine. Like it's still, I hear every word you say. It just sometimes it's a little bit grainy, but other times it's like right on the money. Let me see. I can't imagine you would have done anything else differently.
Yeah, that's the thing. I didn't touch none.
I turned your mic down a little bit. Is that it?
Let's see. I'm just playing with all the volume control.
Would you happen to have any headphones?
The thing is with my phone is there literally is no headphones. I have to have Bluetooth, which I don't even think I have.
Okay.
But I do. When I looked at the thing, it said make sure you have your echo thing on, and I maybe it shouldn't be doing that.
Sorry, guys. I'm still looking up on potential way to stop this. Looks like he dropped out. There he is. Everything's basically saying the same things. It's either try headphones, it says. It says that there's an audio loop somewhere along the way. It might be. Do you have the audio? Is there a way to mute the audio from the application itself? Because then you probably wouldn't hear yourself coming through. You shouldn't hear yourself coming through anyway. In real time, you should be just speaking through. Is there like a audio button for you for the stream itself? Because I don't have one. I don't know.
When I get into the screen, there's like a couple things that ask me.
Is there a thing that says mute screen audio? I don't know if that would mute me as well, but that might be worth a shot. There's a little epsilon at the top right. I'm on a computer. I don't know what it looks like on the phone, but it should be pretty similar.
I'm looking at settings right now.
Well, for me, it's at the top right of the screen that we're on. Like recordings in the top left, and then on the right it says powered by StreamYard. Oh, bye. Got to work out the kinks, ladies and gentlemen. Not sure what would cause this. Maybe it's solar winds. Maybe it's a Starlink or something. There's a satellite moving in from the upper crust into our furthest ozone ether verse. It's possible. I know there's a lot we want to get into, as well as looking at ahead to next week, because that one's going to be very interesting with it being taking place internationally in Mexico. Yeah, Mexico City. I don't know if they're going to have averages. Yo. You sounded money right there. Is it still echoing?
Still echoing.
Son of a gun. Did you find that little thing in the top corner? Like right by the duck's bill. It's like at the end of the duck's bill for me. sure it mutes me. Damn. I just don't know enough about uh oh, okay, that's just that. I wonder if that changes for him. Let's try it when he comes back and see if that's what was looping. Does it now?
Let's see. Oh, I think we're good.
Okay. So for the future, what that
Huh.
is my the screen I'm sharing. I can because I can mute you or I can mute anything. But if you see, are you able to access that second screen at the bottom that shows like the instances where we have the driver averages website up, the shared screen? Can you see that like I can?
Yeah, I can see the shared screen. Yet.
Do you see the little settings on it where it shows that it's muted? Or is that just me?
Yeah, what I just did is I just went out and then it was mute the mic and I just muted it, unmuted it, and then I came back in. Now the echo stopped. But yeah, I don't know why it started five. Like when we started, you always like ask me, you start and then you go to me. There was no problem. Like the first 5-10 minutes, like there was no issue, and then all of a sudden it just out of the blue it just started echoing like after like 10 minutes, and I just was like kind of baffled why that was.
Watch quality get like really bad on StreamYard because uh, every time I log in, there's like 4 pop-ups that come up telling me to just try it. Come on, just try Pro. Come on, do it. Do it. Try Pro. It'll make it cheaper. We'll even do your first. Like, so I could see them kind of peeling back the free stuff for free in order to get people to get so fed up with how bad it gets that they just get the Pro. So who knows? Maybe it's stuff like that. I know if you guys watch Zach like we do, that's a ongoing occurrence with
Oh
with
yeah,
these platforms. Although I think he probably pays for it, but still, it's we're at the behest of these you know technology. We don't have our own platform necessarily to speak on until we go out to the street, and then we got our blowhorn and where we're standing on our own 2 feet to as our platform, which I hope we can do sooner rather than later. Because good luck controlling us there.
yeah,
But here
exactly.
here we're kind of stuck in the matrix. So thanks for sticking with us, guys. If you did, I know that might have been obviously you're not watching this live, so feel free to skip to 33. Of course, you'd already be here if you do that. Anyway, so
Yeah,
looking
if you do
ahead,
watch this, anyone that's out there, you'll probably hear me clear the first 5-10 minutes, and after that, and then he started talking. Then after that, when I start talking again, is I believe when it started. So if you are watching this, you may end up hearing what I was hearing, and you're just going to hear me speak and then speak again like a second later. So that's why I kind of had to talk slow. I didn't know what was going on. I'm like, why is it doing that? I was
hopefully
like,
that
because we
doesn't
haven't
come
had any
through.
problems on here, but it is episode 38, so it's got to be the death of something.
Yeah, they're killing us. That's for sure. Hopefully, that doesn't come through the audio on. Just, I mean, if it does, it is whatever. It was a 5 to 10 minute, technical issue. It's not a big deal. But I will say that looking ahead, we do want to kind of check out this whole thing with Mexico City. It looks like this is going to be the first one of the NASCAR Cup or the Cup Series era. Is that correct? That's at least what driver averages says. So that's an interesting thing in and of itself.
Yeah, I think they've been coming here in the Cup Series for a couple. I'm pretty sure they were here last year. I think they've been coming here a couple years, but it hasn't been
I don't
long.
know why they don't have stats on it. Yeah. So that might be something, or I don't know. But at the very least, we can look into some of the things we normally look into. Let's take this a little bit. So one thing that I was noticing, just on the quick excerpt over here, with the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Excuse me, that was terrible. But a couple things that stand out. One being where it got its name from. So just right in the title itself, the circuit got its name shortly after it opened when Ricardo Rodriguez died in practice for the non-championship in 1962, the Mexican Grand Prix. So that's something we definitely want to look at. I know that there's there's Hispanic or potentially Spanish named people. I don't know about Suarez Jr., what he might be Spanish. Let's see. What do we know about Daniel Alejandro? No, he's Mexican. So that'd be January 7th, too, the 1-7, like 17, like Mason. Anyway, that would be, and that's what I was initially like just kind of chuckling at the idea is, lo and behold, let him get his first win in Mexico City, and how long would anyone bat an eye at this? Probably not very long. He's 33, and his January 7th birthday, for anyone that doesn't know, Mason equals 17, kind of like 1/7, like his birthday, and 33 is obviously a huge number with the Masons. I say obviously, but hopefully you know at least enough about esoteric principles to understand about 33 and master numbers and such. But that's interesting. I think this is something to definitely look into just for what they plan on doing here. Wow, Daniel Suarez, 54.72. Ooh, okay. Man, everybody in this damn field has the numbers, don't they? Everybody we look up's got the numbers. I'm not everyone in the world. I'm saying in NASCAR. I mean, there's blatant ones, and then there's ones that are just right on the outskirts. But man, so many. It's few and far between that have numbers we got to actually look for. Yeah, these things are right out in the open, right? 54 and 72, obviously being big Jesuit numbers here. 54.72, same cipher. So, and I say assuming this isn't to be any kind of judgmental or anything, but I can only assume he's potentially Catholic, having grown up in Mexico. I would assume. It's not about assuming. It's pretty well known that a large portion of Mexico is Catholic. And even when they come over to America, they remain Catholic. With Catholic being, I think, the number 2 religion or one. Where were we? Here we go. Let's kind of pull this over so I'm not getting lost. So the Autodromo, that's the other thing I wanted to look at. What is Autodromo? I've never heard that. I'm not exactly sure what the suffix dromo means. Obviously, I know auto means, but oh, it's a brand. Okay. Oh, okay. I see.
No homo autodromo.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Yeah. Okay. It's a name. It's a title of a company. Okay. I see. I thought it was like a spin on something. Get it? Anyway. Okay. So they're relatively new to the industry. 2011. That's pretty new for a company. Interesting. What's Autodromo by itself? Let's see. Order out of chaos. Interesting. Also, Mexico's 33. I forget about that, but that's interesting. You got Suarez at 33 going to Mexico. Dude, yep. I was joking. Don't let that happen. Also, Mexico City, 54-144. Like, Jesuit order, people.
Just got like 2 54s in there.
Yeah, double down. Man, isn't that weird how we kind of like hone in on one person each week and those numbers just line up. I mean, how many have we called so far actually spot on? It's one thing to be off by a little bit, which, by the way, in a sport like NASCAR, it's not like any other sport, really. We're not guessing, what conference is going to win. There's two choices there. We're talking about a field of how many cars and how close have we been or nailed it how many times. Like, it's crazy how, and it's not like we're sitting here it's not like our entire stream is a NASCAR stream, people. We do NASCAR for the first hour or so tops, and we've been able to see these narratives just by knowing how they like to play these things and the jokes they like to tell. And I'm not saying these are numbers that are saying he's going to win next week. Where I'll look at some date numerology and look into the Ricardo guy, but it is funny that we take a look at these things and maybe this isn't a calling card for this year either. Maybe this is potentially down the line, but it's good information to know about Mexico City and things of that nature, so we can kind of, because these might be pointing. I might be talking about Daniel Suarez, but there's two 201s in the top 5 of NASCAR right now that this could be a sign for them as well. It's hard to tell, but.
Yeah, you got to watch out for Van Ginsberg. He's getting on the road course again. Is it time for number 2?
Let's go. All right, let's do the entire thing. Autodromo Hermanos. What was it? Rodriguez? Yeah. Let's double check, make sure I still love it. Auto. Got the 139, like, was it Freemason? I'm tripping on that. I can't remember. That might be wrong. Oh, Freemason. Yeah, Freemasonry 139. So you have these recurring numbers, guys, like 33. Now we got 139. And don't think that just because it's in Mexico, there's not Masons in Mexico. It's a beautiful country. It's not like, and especially, think about what Masons tend to be attached to in our country. Firehouses, police stations, places of known corruption, and back dealings. What is Mexico kind of negatively known for? The cartel? You think that's you don't think there's any Masons involved in CIA? Well, the CIA are heavily involved in Mexico and the cartels, so I think there's an easy correlation there. So don't be digging too hard for connections between Mexico and Freemasonry. Masons are everywhere. It's not an American thing. First of all, it's not an American thing anyway. It's technically it's a. I mean, where do they say the first one was built? In like some European country. I don't think it was London exactly. It might have been London, but I think there was a lodge chartered before that, even in like Sweden or something like that. So don't go too crazy with the idea that, oh, it's Mexico though. It's like Freemasons are everywhere, the Jesuits are everywhere. These societies don't hold themselves to one place or one rule. First of all, they're the hidden hand. They're not ruling openly on top of everything, obviously, unless and you have the glasses on, and then you see that they are. But these are esoteric societies that do their things underneath the surface. So digging up these numbers in other countries, it only makes sense, and you don't have to grasp at straws for why. So let's take a look at that Ricardo with car right in the middle of his name, right in the middle. What do you know? 41 121, just like Autodromo. 41 121 49, like where he died. Interesting. Let me pull this up to the top so people can see that. I'm sure it's just a coincidence.
Ricardo.
I mean, come on, guys. 3-cipher match to where he died. Sure, it's just a coincidence. So let's take a look at his full name. Full name. Man, doing this live is just so rewarding sometimes, isn't it? Doesn't it just feel so good? It's so easy to point it out to people. I hope that you guys understand that we're not like professors in the subject. We're not at all. So it's just so right on the surface and so easy. All you need is one aspect of knowledge and it unlocks all this stuff. Just to know what to look for and what it is when you see it. Most things are obvious, truly. But to get that next level layer peeled off so that you can see that the whole onion's bad, it's not just the top layer. That's the key. I think once you're able to peel all the layers all the way to the core to see the core needs to be changed, you can realize we're dealing with a bad onion through and through. But you have so many people that just peel the top 3 layers and say, "Oh no, this group is bad. This thing is bad. This thing is bad. Oh, the rest is good. Let's use the rest." No, let's throw that whole bitch out. Let it compost in the dirt. So what was this? Rodriguez, right?
Rodriguez.
Let's take a look at. Let's look this man up. Because he was a stock car driver. I at least assume. Oh, there's a wrestler with that same name, and a soccer player, and a plastic surgeon, all the way down here. Poor guy. Ooh, oh, so he was F1. Okay, yeah, that makes sense because this was maybe not F1. Sorry, I say F1, but a different type of vehicle. I'm not exact. Oh no, it is F1. Okay, it was still called F1. Because remember, this was back in '60. He was 20. Damn. Yikes. That's rough. February 14th.
Valentine's Day.
Yes, it is. And who else has the Valentine's birthday? Funny enough, Oregon, the state of Oregon, has the Valentine's birthday in. Oops. Did I? What was I going to look at? Am I tripping, or is Oregon the 33rd state? I might be tripping on that. Yeah, Oregon's the 33rd state. Just that's outside. I'm sure that that's not going to be a play here. I'm just pointing that out. That's just a funny thing. You can, these things, it just never ends sometimes. I'm not saying it's related, but it is interesting. Obviously, Oregon has nothing to do with this, as far as I know, unless you find out this guy was like born in Oregon, even though he's from Mexico. Anyway, just a funny piece there. So he's got the Valentine's Day birthday. I'm sure I can plug that in. That might be something to do with it. Maybe potentially how he died or why he died. And keep in mind, this was in a practice race before the Grand Prix even took place. He died. So think about that Grand Prix. You think they weren't doing rituals in '60? You think they weren't doing them back then? Come on, guys.
Right, died November 1st. So you got 11.
1-1-1.
Yep, 1-1-1.
Oh. Ooh. That's a good point. Just that 11, with Hamlin. It's interesting too.
Yep.
Did we have a 111 at play earlier? Well, either way, I thought it might have been something I typed that wasn't key, but let's see here. The next race will be on the 15th. So from his birth anniversary, let's see if we spot anything noticeable. 121.
There we go.
What does his name equal? Guys, Okay, by the way, this is an inaugural race. I know you said that they've been doing it, but as far as the stats go, I can't find any stats. I'll look elsewhere. Let's do that real quick, just so we can in real time see if they do have them.
Yeah, I swear they've been coming here for a year or two now, I thought, but or maybe a little bit longer, but maybe I'm wrong.
The first time a points paying Cup Series race. That's why I couldn't find it. You're right. They have gone there, but it's a points paying race. So this is an inaugural race, guys.
Huh.
You think they're not going to pay tribute to the namesake of the track and the guy who paid for it with his life to be in this system? Guys, come on. We're seeing this in real time. Never mind who wins this race. We're seeing the corruption and the setup in the numbers right now. It's so easy to see. I mean, guys, look at this. 121 days, 4 months in 1 day. Yo, come on. Come on. Oh my goodness. This is crazy. Okay. So now I say it's crazy and I'm getting all excited. It's not crazy. It's actually not. Business as usual, really, but still cool to be able to show you guys, in my opinion. Hopefully this isn't all just coming across as a nothing burger to everybody, because truly I think, and that's from his birthday. Let's check his death anniversary. When was that? Oh yeah, November 1st, 62. 5 months, 4 days, like 54. Hmm. And I think if you include the span, you have 5 months and 5 days. That's a fun number, 55. Also, you have the 222 like order out of chaos. Interesting. That's what I noticed right off the bat, at least. But yeah, I think the bigger deal is they love to go off birthdays. They do death anniversary stuff as well, but this seems kind of blaring. I mean, 17 weeks and 2 days. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't like to do that when there's an extra number. I'm not just trying to destroy a number for the sake of my argument. But 17 being so prevalent in this so far is similar to last week. Not saying it's overwhelmingly prevalent, but masonry said it was formed in 1717. That's what I'm basing this off of. Not only does it equal 17, but they say it was formed in 1717. So not arbitrary all that much. I would argue. Okay, so right off the bat, I do say I have a dark horse, potential Suarez slap in the face, because who's gonna protest it? I don't think a lot of people would argue it. Oh, by the way, we had an excellent comment about the Indy 500 winner from Esoteric Racing. Did you catch that?
Oh yeah, I just seen that before we started. Yeah.
So they're doing that with F1 too. Don't be surprised, dude. That could have been a nod to this next weekend's race as well. With arguably, isn't the Indy 500 the biggest race in F1 pretty much, or at least the most advertised, if you will?
Yeah, pretty much for the most part.
So I wouldn't be surprised if because the comment he left was about how the guy's named equal 201. Yeah, well, who was it? Searle who won it or whatever. But also it was a Penske driver who won, and of course we had Penske win it last week, right? It's Blaney's Penske, right? I think so.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, back-to-back wins for Penske out of nowhere. Of course, one being an F1, but still, that's obviously huge. And it was their first Indy 500 win since '72, I believe. It was and it was their. I almost need to go check the comment, but either way, it had 56 and 72, which are those numbers go together quite a lot. You have Jesuit order being 72, and Society of Jesus equaling 56, which plays quite often. Society of Jesus being the formal title of the Jesuits. So don't feel like it's arbitrary. It's not my fault they have like 8 names for their organization, and all of them should just be evil fucks. But I guess that's too crass of a title for them, being God-fearing individuals. It's like very interesting. Very interesting. What about? We've seen this play before too. Mexico City at 84, like Jesuit order, or the Jesuit order, I should say. Sorry. And what 87?
Election of 78. Yep.
What day of the year is 166th day of the year? Maybe something will come up. I think this deserves its own little mini decode. I mean, we'll see what kind of time I have, but man, see if I can clip this out and see that, because that's just, I feel like that's really poignant. I mean, we knew just reading that little excerpt to look to hone in on the death of this driver being the inspiration for the name of this track. Obviously that's going to play into this, but boom, it's right there for everybody to see. His death anniversary, his name, it's written in the numbers, guys. So 121 40. Okay, so let's take a look at Suarez. Oh yeah, he's got the January 7th birthday. Dude, this is kind of like, I don't know. This is adding up, at least narrative wise. I have 522. He got the 58 like 5 months and 8 days from his birthday. Like
Freemasonry.
Yeah. Freemasonry. And also the 139 plays with the autodrome. I don't know if I mentioned that already. I probably did. I think I yeah. No. But then also oh yeah, 159, Donald Trump. That's the other thing. Also, doesn't Suarez drive a Ford? I'm at trip. No, Chevy. Okay. Okay. If you drove a Mustang, I'd almost put a lock on that thing.
Yeah.
And he's from Monterrey, Mexico. Let's take a quick look at that. There's 2 R's. Monterey for you. Okay. 8181.
Ritual.
Also the 207, right? Like Ritual 27.
Yep.
So really very similar. Being kind of course, the placement of these isn't. I'm not sitting here trying to say that when they do their rituals, it's with ordinal on the left, reduction in the, I'm not saying that. It's just, in the 4 ciphers, 3 out of the 4, they are, wedged there. It's just something I've noticed. Get lost in the sauce here with all these tabs. And who does he race for? Oh, he does racing it. Oh, he's a track house driver. Okay. Oh, we might have saw that last couple. Makes sense with Pitbull formerly being. Look at how they do it, man. They gotta team these people together. There's no diversity is not real, guys. They don't they won't allow true diversity of happenstance and coincidence. Like your life is how you meet people based on like happenstance. That's not how these things go. The Mexicans stay together. Just so happens that Pitbull happened to co-own Trackhouse. He doesn't anymore, whatever. That's not the point. You have one of the biggest in America Mexican artists of all time just happened to co-own a team, and it's one with the other Mexican driver. Like, come on, guys. Maybe there's a bunch more. Who knows? But it's not like I'm honing in on him just because he's Mexican per se. I am, but it's not like that's the only person I'm thinking will win only for that. It's just when you know who you're dealing with, you know that the joke is sometimes the largest part. I'm not saying that there's not a bigger thing at play, like the ritual as a whole, like the money moving and the betting and all these other things and the ups and downs of the fans. That's a big deal, obviously, but they love putting their jokes in. They love. There's definitely there's 100. I will tell you right now, there's 100% the powers that shouldn't be love to tell jokes through their rituals. You know this, I know this. So a lot of times I will hone in on a potential joke, like the Mexican driver in NASCAR winning in the only race in Mexico. To me, that's something that they would love to do as a litmus test to see who the hell is paying attention and will call BS because it's not a lot of people. Oh no, come back. So he got 38 and he got 38 special. Hopefully he makes a speedy comeback. There's another 4-name athlete. I call him an athlete because they like to be called athletes. Daniel Alejandro Suarez Garza. Let's check that out. Bring my boy back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
Glitched out.
It is not our night. There's the solar flares from Starlink. Starlink's experiencing solar flare issues. They're drilling into the sun right now for Vita rays. So, phone experiences may be rough. We should really be doing this on a landline like they did with the moon.
Yeah.
Right now, that would be, that would work flawlessly. Unfortunately,
We just don't have that technology to get back there anymore. We just can't do that anymore. It was a very beautiful time, but we just, we can't do it no more,
We're so proud of you boys up there. I'm truly speaking to you from a phone with a little curly wire at the end of it. It's getting all the way to the moon. So proud of you boys. What I was going to do is Suarez Garza. Let's quickly double check that out. Yep. Okay. Interesting. I wonder if that's because Garza is usually a last name, same as Suarez. So I wonder if he has what went on there. If he has a remarried mother or something like that. I don't know why he'd have 2 last names like that. Generally, I could be wrong, but
yeah, so they got 2 middle names, or they got 2 first names, 2 last names, everything, whatever you want it to be. I mean,
right as you dropped out, I was talking about we got another 4-name NASCAR driver. It's like, how many? Well, not a whole lot to go off of his birth date. His span is 5 months and 9 days. Well, I mean, including the span, he does have the Freemasonry numbers, right? 58 and 59. So that's a little bit interesting with, him being age 33 and Mexico equaling 33.
then he's 5'9" too. His height's 5'9", like
Oh, you're right.
59.
You're
Yep.
right. They put that right there, yeah. 100%. Good catch. I saw that earlier, but yeah, I didn't make that connection. Great. Oh, okay. So he took both his parents' last name. Dude, his dad's whipped. Yo, be a man, Ella. Come on, dude. You're gonna let your chica do that to you? Yikes. Yikes. Big yikes for his dad. Let's just put it that way. Let me see. Is he famous? Long distance runner. He should have long distance ran away from this chick before he got tied down.
Gonna run to America, bro.
Yeah, I ran all the. Yeah, that's how he's not. He never competed in any races. He comes from the southern tip of Mexico, so he ran all the way from there to here. All right, that's the last. That's the last one I'm making. My bad, guys. Born in '92. What a year! What a stupid year. I always think about that too. Like 90, okay, 91. I mean to 98 are just throwaway years. Who cares about those years? Unless you're at 90 on the dot or at 99, who gives a crap? That's just my opinion, I guess. It's just, and of course I can have that opinion because I'm a 90 boy. But it's just one of those things. I can't think of a single thing, which is a good thing, by the way, that like really proliferated in those years in like from 91 to 98. There wasn't any like major things that happened from my memory. Maybe it was like Haley's Comet happened that year or something like that. But other than that, so maybe there is a special year in there in the mix.
That's kind of like the mid-90s. You had the death of Kurt Cobain, 94, and then 95, you had the Oklahoma City bombing, and the internet
there
came
was
out
the
too.
bombing. Yeah. Good point. Well, other than those two things, who cares? Not a lot of like years which I'm saying is a good thing, by the way. That's when we talk about the past, and especially me, when I reminisce on the early 90s, it's because nothing was happening. We were allowed to just we were left alone. That's the way it felt. Of course, I was a child, and I'm sure our parents weren't being left alone per se, but I feel like there was a level of most people were just being left alone to our own devices, for good or for better or for worse. And I think it was for better for the most part.
Yeah, the 90s was a quiet time for the most part.
That's kind of what I was getting at.
Things were just so chill back in the day.
Sure were. He drives the 99 as well. 9 being he drives the 9 for the Xfinity Series too, so obviously a prevalent number for him. What did Ricardo drive? Because they're numbered cars too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was wondering what his number is.
A Ferrari, okay, 38. Come on.
Oh my!
Yo.
Oh, they had this all planned tonight.
Yo. Okay, so he was driving the number 8 when he died. Well, no, in one particular series in the Italian Grand Prix, he drove the number 8. I'm not going to sit there and say that's not as big of a deal as his main number being 38. I guarantee you that's what he was racing in when he died. That's what the number he was planning on racing in the Mexican Grand Prix. So, man, yo, Number 38 for us. Number 38 for him too. And for anybody, I think we've been kind of vague, but let's see. Murder 38. That's like such a big deal when it comes to, stories revolving around this is, March 8th. Of course, you have at the same on that same note, you have August 3rd as well. These kind of you have kill dates every year, every month as well, which the date numerology the date, either the day of the year is a big player or the date numerology equals 38, or in some version one of these from the cipher. But 38 is like, you would say, 38 being the caliber of a bullet associated with shooting, 38 just plays when it comes to death. And killing, death. So, sorry, I kind of was saying it, but not typing it for you guys to see. But death 38, killing 38, murder 38. These are three that dominate stories of shootings, death, murders, things of that nature. There's always 38s at play, but so that's why our reaction was the way it was. He drives the damn 38. This guy's life was written when he got into this, clearly, and there's a very high chance he knew that his days were numbered as well, and that he was enjoying being part of the gang for as long as he could. Really, it looked like he raced for Ferrari as well. Yeah, obviously. So let's take a look here.
Yeah, I remember Jason Leffler used to drive the 38 car in the Xfinity series, and go figure, I think he died in a sprint car crash. But what happens when you get thrown that 38 car? You can expect to die somewhere down the line.
They'll definitely use it for something. It's not arbitrary. Ferrari, and that's Ferrari's out of Italy. Where's Bavaria in conjunction with Italy? I'm not super good at geography, so especially in like Mediterranean areas, I don't remember where everything is up in that weird cluster of stuff. Like I know the continents for the most part, and where coasts are, and where countries on the coasts are, and things of that nature. But when it comes to like the Mediterranean, it always throws me off. Like I can't. Is Bavaria around there? I can't remember.
You talking about Bavaria in Germany, or?
Yeah, I just don't know where that.
Yeah, Italy. I believe is to the south of Germany. I think it's southeast. Yep.
Okay, so really, they're connecting. Oh, yeah, no, they are connecting. Of course, Bavaria is not the name of the country, but Bavaria being in Germany, obviously, and it touching Italy, where Ferrari is manufactured. There's just something to look at. Why I say that is because 5-1 is famously, May 1st, like Adam Weishaupt equals 51, the founder of the Illuminati. Just thinking about Ferrari as a whole, they use that iconography of the horse, which is generally not a good thing. It's like horses have been nothing but good for mankind, but their iconography is usually used to represent in some form or fashion. I could be wrong on the actual esoteric meaning of the horse, but I know in mythology and things of that nature, equine depictions really have to do with. Anyway, we can get into that on another episode, but think about like Neptune and things of that nature, how he's the god of the horses. Never mind that for now. But
Like the
just
Horseman
go.
of the Apocalypse.
Yeah, that I didn't say it, but I was thinking it too. So thank you for saying that. And then, is it just Ferrari? Is that their name? Don't they have like a different name, like a bigger name? Or is it just Ferrari? Okay.
I think it's just Ferrari.
It looks like it is. Enzo Ferrari, the most popular version of a Ferrari. Enzo. Well, real quickly, let's just see if this was in a Ferrari tribute. Got the 72. But I don't know when. When did Enzo Ferrari die? August 14th, 88. Just for posterity, let's just quickly take a look. There's a, when was his death anniversary? It was November 1st, right? Because now I'm almost more interested in breaking down this Ricardo guy's death than anything else. Oh wait, this is 2025. Though. Hold on, so. Anyway, whatever. Maybe go deeper on this at another stage. I'm sure that there's stuff to do with this. You know, to think that his death wasn't involved or his team or his sponsor wasn't involved in this is laughable. So I'm almost sure that there's a Ferrari connection here. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. All just, all from this short excerpt on the track itself. We were able to divine, I say divine, not to mean that in the paganistic sense, but, because we're not pulling this from nowhere. That's the exact opposite of what we're doing, really. I shouldn't have used that at all. But to basically highlight is a better word, exactly how they script this stuff out. Oh, who's Pedro?
110,000, 110, like the 110 story Twin Towers. Nirvana, William, 110.
Got that 11 at play as well. Like
Yep.
Day of this.
Nirvana, William, 110. Big 11.
So who's Pedro Rodriguez though? God forbid, like another guy died here and he was like related to this guy or something. And he died on the 11th as well. From Germany. In Nuremberg, nonetheless. That's a. Oh, he died in Germany. Oh, he must have died on a track. Mexico's greatest driver. Okay. Spare. Give us a minute, guys. I just want to see how he died.
Yeah, it's crazy going along with these 11s. Is in 2 days on June 10th, I'll be alive for 11,000 days.
Oh, even nice.
So I don't know if that's why they had to really get Denny Hamlin there. I don't know. I think it's like January of 2027, somewhere in like January of 2027. I'll have been alive for like a billion seconds.
Okay, so are these guys related or not? They both have Rodriguez as their last name. Yo, come on. I mean, we were only attacking one angle because I only read the first part. I didn't know another Rodriguez died racing F1 and that he died in Germany. And we were just talking about the connection between Germany and Italy with
He
Ferrari.
died 7/11.
Wow. Not even. Oh no, they're brothers. Yo, her mom. That's why it's her brothers. That duh. Okay, so it's not just about it's two brothers who died racing in F1. Yeah, 9 years apart, like nine. Like Suarez races the 9 car for the. Maybe he'll win the Xfinity race next week. Maybe he wins the Xfinity race next week. He drives the number 9 car in Xfinity and the 99 in NASCAR. God forbid he Larsons and wins both.
Yeah, 999. That's 27 ritual.
Also, like similar to 207, like Monterrey, Mexico, where he's born. Uh, Suarez, that is, right? Yeah. Dude, I don't know. God forbid. We might just be missing the plot on this one completely, but there's definitely like masonry focus on this one. I mean, guys, keep in mind this is, they had their but we had the Shriners race earlier this year where they did a clear I wouldn't say clear, but we were able to sniff out a Hiram Abiff ritual with Chris Bell's third win and things of that nature. So don't be surprised if this is not um, some other ritual they got to get off their slate, and they're using NASCAR to do it, or Xfinity. From what I was reading, Xfinity is slowly becoming is lapping, if you will, close to starting to gain some traction. Man, this is easy. Gaining on NASCAR's popularity based on, I guess it's a little bit more reckless down there. Of course, if it gets more mainstream, won't be as reckless. You know what I mean? Because these people are competing to be in the bigger circuit. But if their circuit becomes bigger, they won't do that way anymore. It's a catch-22, really. Very, dude. I feel like that was a quick, that was quick in our by our standards. But man, that decode there with the 121 and 41 that's hitting me still. 4 months and a day and 121 days from his birthday anniversary will be this next week's race. Autodromo, a company that sponsors in this track, and his name equals 41. Oh, wait, what's Pedro? 31, 23,
88.
58, like masonry.
Yeah.
Or Freemasonry, sorry. Where's the 201? Somewhere. It's got the 71, similar, that's one way you can write January 7th, like as far as his birthday. Either that, dude, what if it was so nasty, like so nasty, and something happened to our boy Danny? That'd be kind of wild. We've talked about this early on in the season, but there hasn't been any. They haven't done like something like that in a while, right? When's the last time they did some sort of injury on the track? It's been some time, right?
Yeah, I can't really remember last time. I know Bowman had a pretty good hit today. He was a bit shaken up, but yeah, it's been a while. I know one of the last probably bad injuries where someone had to like get I know like Kyle Busch broke a leg like a decade ago. I think back in like 2017 or something. I think Eric Almirola had to get like cut out of the car or something. There's been a few in the last. So Kurt Busch had that concussion in like 2022 that didn't look like anything, where he just got his career ended. That didn't look like nothing. So hard to say if that was a fake injury or he actually get the concussion. But
He did the Damar Hamlin. Maybe,
yeah,
maybe that's just so funny too.
yeah, I
See
would say
him
Kurt Busch that was probably the last main one 3 years ago when that happened. Because
3 years ago.
yeah, because that's like a main guy that's just gone. Oh, my career's done. I'm out. And he was driving the 45, I believe, too, when that happened. Got his last win at Kansas there in like May, and then
And what
got
year?
injured.
What year was that?
That was in 2022, year of the Tiger.
The real year of the Tiger is the year. What's his name? Hit and killed that guy on the track.
Oh, Tony Stewart.
Yeah, Tony the Tiger. That was the real year of the Tiger.
Pine Ford, yeah.
Okay, well, I think that's our breakdown on NASCAR for this week. Please let us know what we missed and what we could add to it. Any comments on what we found? Because I feel like that was enough. I mean, that's as I think that has that same feeling as the William Byron revelations and the our 3 week slew of calls on well, actually we had 2 Bell calls and we had 2
Hamlin, yeah.
Hamlin calls. So we were on it on those 2, and we were finding these connections, hot and fast. So that I don't know. That just either way, and it's not like this was a huge decode for Suarez to win. There are some. I would say that is a narrative, and they love. Just think about it, guys. They love doing this kind of stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of heritage month. Let's take a look. I know it's Pride Month. God forbid Suarez is gay or something. But let's see, Mexican. When is Mexican Heritage Month? Of September. Okay.
June is Pride Month.
Jeff Gordon month, DuPont with the rainbow.
I mean, not just the car color. I mean, I think there's been speculation for quite some time about good old Gordon and his. I don't know. I feel like even me not being a fan of the sport when I was younger, there was like rumblings about how he was a little dandy boy. Just saying.
There's a reason he was driving they called him the Rainbow Warrior. It's why all those things, it's it's the same thing like Jeff Hardy Wrestling. They called him the Rainbow Warrior too, and they're both named Jeff. So there's a lot of these things that
Yeah.
Jeffy like to cross
Well,
contaminate things.
I would say let's build on that high, if you will, of discovering what we just discovered about the Rodriguez brothers and things of that nature, and ride that into our main topic, if you will. Got about an hour left. That seems like a good chunk of time to riff on this particular topic. And like I led into this episode with, we wanted to talk about, naivety really, and where we're at as humans based on, I say humans, but more so Americans as far as the narratives that we'll bring up. But there are some that are global narratives. Obviously, one being the last one that shook us, if you will, COVID. That was definitely a global narrative. But anyway, do you have a potential particular way you want to lead into this? Because I feel like we can just play off whatever either one of us says, but I'll let you have the floor and get us started, if you will.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of ways to attack this one as well. And I think one thing to, you look at, I can't remember what day the Trump Musk thing went back and forth or whatever started. I think that was Monday or whatever, right when we got done with episode 37 last week. Because I don't think that was going at that time. I think it was right after that. But obviously, that you got the loser Trump and retard Musk, those two going at it. And you got, that. And then today, just before we got on here, there was the Trump falling down the stairs, or falling up the stairs, getting on the plane. And just the way they do these things. And, like I said, I feel like, you have this, you have a lot of things at play right now. I mean, and with these stories, you have the falling away of, Trumpy Dumpy and Musky Wusky, their little breakup or whatever. You have that, but you also have this, you know, you got that, you got, Trump falling up the stairs. You have all these other things going on right now that, kind of symbolize, the great falling away, or the fall of America, or, something to that effect. And, you just look at where things are going. I mean, it's like, it's like I was saying before. I mean, with, the like AI and like drones and stuff, it's not like it is, these things are taking over. I mean, literally, 2 years from now, I mean, there's going to be, drones flying around that are going to be shooting lasers at us and bullets when we're out trying to just walk around or do something. You won't even be able to go outside because there's going to be drones and AI and, things like that after you. And then you got to deal with all this other stuff. So you have this kind of pivotal time right now where this is, I mean, the whole, since, Trump's been back in there, it's just been this, basically, this kind of ripping off, the Biden, Sleepy Joe, but, now it's Sleepy Trump. I mean, you got him basically just doing a Biden now, with his falling down and, dementia and, acting all dumb and retarded and stuff. And then, of course, you have, like I've said before, how, he got this guy who hates, the electric vehicle, the electric cars. Then, have you got Elon Musk, Mr. Tesla and stuff. So, and these two, joining forces, then is splitting up, and these two billionaire goons. And you just see what you see what it really is, and why these things are happening. And it is, it's like you said, it's a checklist, just all these things they can get off on us. And like I said, with the near future of things that are coming and happening, with AI and, drones, and the way things are changing right now, and how quickly things are happening. I mean, you're going to have, I mean, it's not only just, you got the self-driving trucks and semis on the road. I mean, you're going to have self-driving cars, taking care of, old people and dropping them off, in just a couple of years. That's all you're going to see on the road. And you're going to have, like I said, these AI bots and drones, and they're going to be, targeting us and shooting at us. Like I said, either lasers or real guns, or whatever they plan on doing, because, humanity just missed the mark. And this is what you have this week. I mean, these stories and what they're doing, just more mockery, and just the way they go about these things. It's just a big joke. And you just look at where things are heading in such a quick direction. I mean, with things, I know they were saying, that, they've been poking fun of doing something like a month from now here, the big one going off here in Washington, or, Mount Rainier erupting, or, the mega quake or tsunami, whatever that's supposed to happen. They're talking about that happening, in like July, in a month. They're trying to make that happen. So, I mean, you see major moves right now happening, but to me, it's really, it's just showing, symbolizing things as blatant as can be. You know, I mean, you got Trump, who, you know, is he gonna just be, you know, kicked out or something because he's not, you know, a fit leader? So something's going to happen with him going down the line, and it could be a fake assassination. It could lead to that, like I said, or, you know, he has to exit stage left because he's not fit to be president, something to that effect. Or he's going to, like I said, he's going to get his third term and he's just going to be the last president and he's just going to stay president. Or we're going to see some massive event, to get people scrambling, like I said, with, you know, a natural disaster, something out here, or, you know, maybe it's even like the Hoover Dam or something, you know, just something big to really, or just, you know, keep slam people with weather weapons. I know, like, Texas right now is just getting twisters, you know, and like Texas taxes, it's right there in your face, and that's what these stories are. And you know, with the Musk thing here, with, you know, them, the fallout and stuff, you know, all this being planned, obviously, you know, the dark mega, and now now you got these forces splitting up, and you know, it's like we were saying, it's kind of, they're trying to, you know, brew this kind of somewhat of a civil war, but it's to me, it's just like you got all these people that just don't. I mean, to me, it's like most people right now, people just want to, for the most part, get out of the country, because people that do see how dumb things are and how bad things are, most people that are caught up to speed, almost all of them are saying to get out of here. And this is why, because of the main reason, or one of the biggest reasons, being that, you know, the political shit show, and all the dummies that, you know, keep this thing going and allow it to blow up to what it is. And now you're seeing things escalate. And like I said, this little Trump falling is a symbol. Everything he does is a symbol of something. It's a mockery of something. It's a way to, you know, conjure up something else. And, you know, the way he just made that little fall going up the stairs, you know, it may not look like much, but that's always what it is. And we'll find out, I'm sure, this week, and probably this month, or at least this summer, what that was. But, and a lot of people, like I said, they don't see it. They don't, you know, they don't catch things like that. It just goes right by them, and they miss what really is the true essence of what's happening. And it's the same thing with Musk right now, and the situation, and the technology, and everything that's happening. And we're kind of reaching this point too, where it's getting that, you know, do or die point, where it's like, okay, are people just gonna, you know, get out of the country, or what are they gonna do? Or, you know, are people that's gonna sit back and just kind of lose everything because of, you know, the digital world, or the AI, or all this other stuff that's coming right now? So you have, and then too, like I said too, with it's almost been a year since that fake assassination, but, you know, this is also kind of that moment where it's like, now are we going to see, it gets people riled up, because, like, are we going to see the changing of the guard? Is it time for JD Vance? Is it time for you know, a new leader? You know, and they're trying to get people against Musk, or against Trump, and then, or against you know, just get people pitted against each other. So this is a situation that I believe they're just going to keep playing off. You know, Trump you know, trying to make it look like he's all, you know, worked up and stressed out, and it's been a tough time for him and stuff. And so I'm real interested to see where they go with this. But I think that whatever they do, there's going to be respondents here to this very, very quickly. And I think, like I said, this summer, I think things are going to get real ugly this summer, because, you know, by the time and it could be this winter too, where maybe we do get to finally get that grid down type scenario. But I know they've been trying to do it lately too. There's been situations that hasn't happened here in Washington, for what I know of, but areas, I know other places are having, like, power outages, grid going down, that type of stuff. So this could even be some kind of symbol for that as well for this summer. And maybe they do have a big event planned this summer, or maybe it's towards this winter. But definitely, yeah, it's a big mockery. It's a big show, and that's what it is.
Did you catch that? him falling. I mean,
Yeah.
what? I mean, look, I understand the implication, like you were just saying too. You know, the similarities, but you know, everyone knows Biden falling up the stairs and everything like that. It's actually the. I'm surprised there's not like a side by side.
There really should be.
There's side by side. I guess Rubio stumbled too. Maybe there's like a problem with the step or something. No, but you know the similarities here. Either way, that's not bad. Maybe okay. Hear me out. Sorry, I love what you were saying. By the way, that like I completely agree with you know where they're taking us, and that plays perfectly into the you know the fragile psyche of the people right now that are still reeling from something that happened 5 years ago. It's still ringing in their ears. It's still you know all they can hear and think about. And whenever they you know of course I'm talking about COVID, whenever they drum up some other fear tactic you know surrounding COVID, a new strain, or no one's said the word bird flu in a few months. What happened to that? You know,
Yeah.
the reason is they bring these things out. I'm not saying they're going to pocket it forever and never use it again, but it's for a momentary thing. It's some sort of test on the public, and that's what these things are. But what I will say with this is, you know, this could be a strategy. You know, have him fall in the exact same way of Joe Biden, but show that he does it more elegantly. You know what I mean? It's just such a stupid win that they could say for him. You know what I mean? You'll have all these free, you know, because what this is it's reverse psychology. If you were on the left and you saw this, you'd be like, whoa, he's falling, he's in decline. And it's just be like, you're saying that? You guys defended your guy when he almost died falling barely. Look at him. He catches himself within a half a second and he keeps walking. He's good. This was not a bad. He didn't fall. He stumbled barely. But I'm saying, like, I'm not defending him. I don't care. This guy's a piece of work, a piece of garbage. I don't care about him. I don't think he's better than anybody else. But I can see
Look at the way he's
them
gripping that
using
railing too. He's got that railing too, you know. And then,
just
oh, a little
playing.
stumble. Well, I got the railing. Oh, I'm almost falling now, but I got that railing. I mean, it's showing weakness. It's just showing decay, and you just see him. He's just got to that little bit, you know, just got to get it in there. Just it's perfect
That's a
acting.
good point too. I could still see them using this maybe for both narratives. For them to say, yeah, he is in decline. He's tripping upstairs. Just the you know the same story. You can't just say it about Joe Biden. If your guy does it too, you need to own up to it, and then there'll be hypocrisy. That's what they want out of us. Is hypocrisy, because they want culpability and hypocrisy. Those things go hand in hand with this game. It's all psychological. We trick ourselves into falling into these traps. We fall into the traps, and then we don't see the way out. We're so far into the hole that all we see is what we fell into. We can't see the top of the blue sky above us anymore. We're so far down the hole. And what I mean by that is egos. Our egos don't let us see the light and see that we fell from somewhere and we're not just there because we put ourselves there. We forget that we fell into a trap. We got team rocketed, bro. And what happens is either side, their egos won't let them be wrong necessarily. And so with that comes hypocrisy, because this is a perfect example of it. And it's stupid and it's mundane and stupid. But I mean, I think the bigger form of hypocrisy is these Elon things, how you have, you know, the right, if quote unquote, the right scrambling to say this isn't that big of a deal. What, you know, when, you know, it's brought, of course, Trump's been mentioned alongside Epstein for fucking a long time, decades. Until they'll say, oh, no, it's been publicized already. If there was really something, it would have came out before anybody else. He was in connection with them for the real estate thing. And once he found out he was a bad guy, he severed ties. Okay, sure. There's so much proof of that abound. Anyway, psych, there isn't. But we fall into these traps to where we're sighted. Where you have a bunch of people in a big ass hole on the right and a bunch of people in a big ass hole on the left, and neither one of them can see that they're in a hole, and so they don't try to get out or anything. They just squabble in the hole. And if you don't know what I mean, what I'm saying is we're blinded by our egos. Our egos won't let us admit when we're wrong. And so through that, our hubris is formed to where we're hypocritical on certain things. So like I'm saying with this, I keep getting off topic, sorry. But both presidents fell in the exact same manner. Like I'm telling you, one day, I'm telling you, someone's going to get 1 million views. And maybe I'll just do that after this video. I'm not joking. I feel the fact that I couldn't find it on a quick YouTube search means it probably doesn't exist yet. I should do a quick side-by-side video and post that. Don't steal my idea. I'll do it before this is transcoded. That way no one can take my idea yet. Anyway, you'll see. It's the exact same thing. It is to prove us to be hypocrites and prove us to be and make us culpable in the crime they're committing against us. Because that's what they need. They do need this. And I say they, I'm talking about the powers that be, the ruling class, the Jesuits, the Catholic Church, upper echelons of religion, government, and these systems, and the kingdom, the monarchy that controls us, from just behind the veil. They do so because we're gladly controlled. And this is another proof of it. It might seem small to people, but what it is it's proof that we are so eager to fight each other that we never see who we should be fighting. You've talked about this multiple times. I love the way you put it. We need to be able to point the fingers at the correct, the real people at fault, and we're stuck pointing it at each other. And this is another excellent example of our ego not allowing us to call out the actual hypocrisy. We take the role of the hypocrites, and we're hypocritical when we can't let go of our ego and put our egos aside to say not only that our guy, quote unquote, is wrong. Either side could say that at any point because they've been wrong for all their entire careers, but to realize that the other side that we're fighting is not your neighbor. That should not be who we're fighting, but our egos keep us thinking that, just think about in your daily lives. Look at how little cohorting there is between regular people. It's a miracle when somebody holds the door open for the next person behind them when they're walking through the same door at our store. They're walking through the same door, and you know how many times the door just gets slammed on you because they can't hold the door for half a second. They know you're right there. And that's just a stupid example. I'm just saying, this stuff is out the window, and why would someone not hold the door for the next person? That's just obvious. They would want it held for them, but it's just so obvious that it has to do with this. Think about traffic. Think about the moves you see people make to get one car ahead. Is that really to save time? No. It is so they can feel superior to the cars behind them. That's all it has to do with. So it's this weird competition in every facet of our lives. And it comes down to, like we said as the title, it's naivety. We're naive as hell to think the things that we pretend to care about or truly care about when we shouldn't are important. It is a cop-out. It is a sellout move to put these things on a pedestal so that we don't have to pay attention to the real things that are hard to deal with, hard to tell ourselves, hard to convince ourselves of the truth. Because when the truth hits you, it hits you. You are not going to like the truth. You should not like the truth. There's not a whole lot of truth in this world anymore that's likable. Do you agree with that? When you find out the truth of something, is it ever just like, wow, that's great? No.
Yeah, and it's just, this is what and you brought up a great point, like just the basic things in life that it's like, I'll be always out and I'll be holding the door for someone, or I'm always, trying to help someone out, and you don't get that. You'll be driving and then people are just trying to, yeah, you know, they're all, you know, you're driving and the light's red in front of you, and then they're all mad. They just put their hands up, you know. Oh, what are you doing? You're going too slow. It's like, yeah, you see the lights red right there. Like, where are you gonna go? What are you gonna do? But they're just all mad because, oh, I just gotta go. I gotta get by. You're going too slow. You know, it's just this is the people's mentality today. It's just yeah, and then, you know, or, you know, you're merging, you're trying to get over, and then you're trying to you know, just file in, but oh, I can't let that guy pass me. Like they're in the NASCAR race. They're in a race. I mean,
They're
you can't
drafting
get by.
you. You didn't realize.
Yeah, everyone's in a NASCAR race or some kind of race. You can't pass no one. You can't get ahead of no one. They're gonna, you know, run you off the road. They're gonna hit the gas and, you know, jump in front of you. They're gonna pin you out. You know, whatever. It's just, that's how it is. I mean, that's the way society is. I mean, the communities are just dead. I mean, if you're trying to hold the door for someone, you try and do something for a lot of people. It's uh, there ain't much. I mean, there ain't much to give in this society. And you just have this. Everyone's got to be the top dog. You know, it's all about. And people just they can't. Most people just they can't take accountability for anything. I mean, people they can't. They can't take responsibility. You know, the people that, you know, they have them do some work on your car, they destroy your car, you could have got a different car with the money they screwed you over with, and no one's going to take the blame. It's just, that's the way people are. I mean, because they're all caught up in their pride, they're caught up in their ego, and then they're just totally off base with reality. And this is where most people are at. They're not in reality. They're in la la land. That's the average person. They're just lollygagging. They're just um not even seeing anything, and they're worried about stupid things. And most people are worried about the dumbest shit. And that's why you still do have people that watch the news and are into politics and stuff, because they gotta find a, you know, they gotta find a grip on something. They gotta be into something. You know, they have to have some pride, some ego somewhere. And yeah, and it's just, you know, this is the thing, is you have a society that's not you know, the competition hasn't done us any good. It's just making things worse, and it's keeping everyone distracted, keeping everybody uh docile for the most part, because people are, you know, we're supposed to be coming together, supposed to be, you know, being together, supposed to be doing, you know, human like activity. and, and you don't have that anymore, because away from everybody. I mean, nobody wants to really do anything. They don't want to come together, they don't want to work together. Then you got uh other people in life that's just, like I said, that's how they are. It's just, they're, you know, you can't most people, it's like that, you look at them, it's like they say hi, you know, you want to say hi, you want to talk to someone, but then it's like, at the same time, it's like somebody said, oh my god, he said hi to me, what do I do, why did he say that, oh my god. It's just like, oh my god, it's a person, like, holy fuck. Yeah, that's the world. It's just, everyone is just so whacked out at people. Everyone's in a bad spot. And you got so many people that they're on the verge of just snapping too. I mean, they're, you know, with these stories and the stuff they're caught up in. I mean, you just see it. People are just fucking losing it. And then you got these dummies that are gonna look, you know, these stories are gonna entrench themselves in. You got people taking sides, you know, splitting apart. You got the Trumpers, and then you got the Muskers. Now these people are gonna be hating each other, and it's just, you have stupidity. I mean, there was um I know there's like the bullshit stuff going on in LA as well, and, you know, all the other things they like to brew up with people. But yeah, it's just this is just what they do. And the society today, this is what society breeds. I mean, you don't have people that have enough intelligence to just do what should be done, because everyone's you know, they're all in their own lane. Everyone's in their own lane, and they don't want to merge. They don't want to let anybody in. They don't want to let you in the door. They don't want you to say hi. They don't want you to look at them. You know, I try to kind of break that everywhere I'm at. I mean, you know, even um whether I'm at the gym or whatever, trying to get some kind of sense of community, some sense of uh life or something going. But most people, they don't want that. They want to live in their own world, and they want to be delusional, and they just want to and that's the problem. It's bringing everyone down. It's bringing everybody down, and it's just it's crashing everything.
You make a really good point there, because throughout my life, there's been a small fraction of my life where I've been you. Here's the thing. Whenever I meet people like you, I always take away from it like I need to be more like that. There's nothing holding me back from doing that. I should be doing that. And I don't. And I may and let me get not philosophical, let me get introspectual. That's a new word. Introspectual. That sounds like it's going to be on the pride flag. It's Pride Month, everybody. I'm an introspectual.
Yeah.
Yo, that's sick. Don't anybody steal that. Hey, anyway, that needs to go on some merch, dog. That was crazy. I'm writing that down. Holy shit. Sometimes these things happen. Anyway, let me get introspectual, like I said. And it's easy to, we've talked about diet and like habits forming, stuff like that before. This goes hand in hand. These are all psychological things. When you can approach them with it comes to, you're having a battle in your mind. I'm telling you, I love to vicariously push out my thoughts because I say them like other people are having the exact same thoughts, because what happened is I've heard so many people's testimonies and they've been exactly what I thought. So I just know it'll resonate with some people, and it's better that they hear it matter of factly. I'm not saying it's every single person that will feel this exact same way, but I'm, what I'm going to say is universal, but for some people that had the exact same experiences, this will hit different. It'll hit harder. You know what I mean? Anyway, when you're going through it, because what I'm explaining is I've met people just like you that can bring light into a room and that go for it, and they do outwardly express themselves and they try to make the thing better. That has not been me. You can ask anybody in my life. That's I when you know me, I'm a pretty happy-go-lucky person. I like to make jokes and all sorts of stuff, but that's like when you know me. I don't go out of my way for strangers, even so much as normally on the average smiling at people as I go by them. But when I do, it is a clear delineation. Dude, the fact that I'm nobody, that nobody cares about me, but if I smile at somebody, they 9 times out of 10, they smile back and they look genuinely happy. Why can't we all do that? And it's this weird thing that I think a lot of people have noticed this in their life that aren't joyful and don't try to, not just joyful, by the way. I don't think you're explaining joy, what you're talking about, but concerted effort to be helpful is the word, but that's not what I'm going for, like with my terminology, but like helpful in a sense. And
somewhat outgoing.
Yeah, outgoing is a good word. Yeah, but yeah, in doing so, in order to kind of pull people out of what they're in too, because you want people to. I don't know if that's what you want, but what it ends up doing is pulling people out of their, funk that they're walking around in, whether you know it or not. And what I'm saying is, I know I do it. Yet I have this battle in my head. This is what I want people to hone in on and listen to, because I think that other people are like this. I know other people are like this. Is when you stop and think about it, you'd rather see people smile, and it feels good when they smile back at you and everything like this. But it's this battle of, why should I? Why should I be the one to? Why doesn't people smile at me? If people smile at me, I'll smile back. Well, where does that leave us? If the majority of people feel that way, how many people are smiling? Who's starting the smile? Barely anybody. You. That's about it in the whole gym. So that's what I'm kind of alluding to, is I need to do it more often because I know it exists. It's one thing to be ignorant of it, but what I do is actively suppressing something I know is good. And I need to do better at that. And I try to be more outgoing and nice, especially with older people. That's one thing I really don't not do that with older people. I definitely do, especially seniors. I've always been outgoing and nice and throw them a smile. You know why? Because in my head, I want them to remember what it was like when they were growing up. And they didn't walk around and see a bunch of people depressed, even though they were broke and had nothing going for them. And, the best thing they could, genuinely, which, by the way, I'm acting like this is a bad thing, but this is actually a good thing that they had less going for them because there was less interference from the government. But, anyway, it was a different time back then. And I guarantee you, they smiled at somebody, they smiled back. And I don't think that that's on average, guaranteed it's not on average what they get nowadays. And I want them to, they're nearing the end of their life. They shouldn't see a bunch of smug losers thinking that they're more important than everything else around them. And I know that that's a harsh criticism, but it's a critique on me as well. That what are we so sour about? We need to. It's simple things. We're not saying to go and give your life savings away and become a monk and dedicate your life to smiling at people on the side of the road. It's just when the opportunity's there, do something that's right. It doesn't even have to be a physical thing. Like, I know you're willing to do all those types of things to help people and go out of your way, but that's not even what I'm talking about. Going out of your way and what I'm saying is to just do that the more, like, I guess, happy-go-lucky thing, and stop being so stuck in your me mentality. Somebody else should do it. Why should I mentality? That's dude, I'm writing that shit down too. I'm like Jordan Peterson over here right now. The good one, not the dark version that's going on right now. Not to say I was ever a big fan of him. I wasn't. I'm just saying, like, narrative based, he's on a downward spiral. You'll find out that he was like giving blowjobs in college too soon. There'll be some other bombshell. They always like to use these people to really hurt. They use them as symbols of masculinity, and then you'll find out he was, autoerotic asphyxiating to Richard Simmons workout videos or something. I don't know. Don't picture that like I just had to do. My bad, guys. But sorry, I'm getting a little bit introspectual here. So anyway, does that kind of did that resonate with you at all? I know you're on the opposite end of what I was talking about, but does that kind of make sense? Do you ever feel like you're walking around with the people I just described? And do you kind of get what I'm saying? That I'm not talking about other people, by the way. I'm giving it to you through the lens of other people, but I'm talking about myself. I do that mentally. I go through those gymnastics and think, and not even openly in my head talking to myself saying, oh, well, why should I? Screw that. Man, I'm not like, I don't have this weird inner monologue voice doing that, but it is a weird feeling. It's like, you do it first and I'd be more than happy to. Well, that doesn't work. People need to step out and be the first one. They need to have that mentality like you do. But I'm telling you, I don't have it. I have to fight to have that mentality a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I feel, it's definitely a product of living today, but it's like everything has become just kind of so awkward a lot of times. And sometimes for me, like, I'll just kind of read someone's energy, and maybe I wasn't in a good mood, or I'm in a bad mood, or I'm angry, I'm crabby, or I'm just like depressed that day or something, and I didn't, I was maybe kind of cold, or I can be like that too, and then people might take it the wrong way or something as well. And but generally, and I'll kind of feel people's energy and how people are and stuff, but I feel like a lot of ways, a lot of times, like, even if I walk in the room, it's like, I feel like there's that presence where people pick it up, and they feel, and they know I've entered, and they see me. And, it's kind of like when I'm at the gym, the certain people, pretty much everyone I'm cool to, some people I'll talk to, I'll say hi, I'll wave, or, I'll talk to some people, or hang out with some people, or maybe some people I kind of work out with them or by them, but maybe we don't really like talk or say much or anything. But it's just like everyone's kind of a bit different. But yeah, I feel like that's I try to just kind of always put off a good vibe. I mean, not everyone's gonna want to look at you or talk to you or like everything about you, so it is. But it's not like I really, it's kind of hard to describe. It's like, I don't fear that, or feel that, fear or feel that anything is going to go bad or go negative. But it's just kind of one of those things where today you just don't know what people are thinking and how people are. And that's the thing, you'd like to, I mean, it's something where even I could do somewhat a better job, especially with some people. And it's kind of something I've been trying to work on lately too. And I feel like it is getting better, and there's obviously always still room for improvement. But yeah, I feel like, and that's the hard thing too. It's like, when you get past that point, because most people, it's like, I'll be cool with you and we'll be cool. But I mean, when you really want to, like, it's not, to me, it's easy to like be cool with people and have that kind of vibe. And I'm really good with kind of meeting people where they're at and work with people that way. But when it comes to like stuff that, we talk about, and stuff that's, maybe gematria related, or just, truth related or whatever, it's very hard to get to that next sector. It's very hard to go down that alleyway, because most people just, you kind of have to just, I don't want to say leave that stuff out, but you really have to, if you're gonna, come at people with that, you have to kind of find what they're susceptible to. Like I've said, maybe they don't like Trump or Elon or something, so you're able to kind of work them in that way. Maybe they don't like any of the political stuff. I think it's all a show and stuff, so you work them in that way. Maybe they don't like the sports, or they think it's all garbage, so you work them in that way. Maybe they maybe they're into that stuff, but they notice this, they think, or maybe they're one of those weird people that, maybe they understand the weather control or something, so you work them in that way. So it's, everyone's a bit different how you have to kind of handle it. And it's just kind of like, um especially like the conversations I have with people, it's like, maybe they're religious, but they, we can have an open-minded discussion on, what life is or something. That's where it does get hard, and it is, it is frustrating to be where we are, and people that are still just so far behind and don't know what's going on and stuff, or people that, and mostly too, it's just like people just, they don't want to really get into stuff, because it's just, like I said, it's just gonna bring them down. And then it's like, and then they're gonna look at you, maybe like, maybe you're negative. I mean, it's not like, I know, like, a lot of people, like, their perception of me is kind of like all over the place, because like I can come at you from all of these angles and say all these things, but that's just the person that I am. Like, I'm so open-minded and open to so much that it kind of just depends on what day and where you catch me, and how I am with things. Maybe one day you think I'm just the biggest asshole or prick in the world, and then you could kind of prove that, or I'm just this douchebag, or just being an asshole. Maybe that was just that moment. Maybe I was just that kind of day it was having. Or maybe, this day, oh, Austin's, super cool, super nice, super outgoing. But then maybe in this other situation, you're like, oh, Austin was really quiet. He didn't say anything. You just kind of, was just kind of there. And, maybe there was a reason for that or something, or, oh, Austin's fucking crazy. He was talking about numbers, and he's saying they're controlling the weather, and he thinks fucking drones are gonna get him and stuff. I mean, he's got some major problems, man. He needs some medicine or therapy, So but then it's not like any of that at the end of the day phases me. But it's just like, that's the common disconnect. And like you said, that's the naive age we're living in with people. Is it's become hard to have somewhat basic connections. Some of it, I feel like maybe is, my fault. I didn't, approach that person, or I didn't come at them in the right way or whatever. But some of it is frustrating, because it's just like, you know, the way people that want to defend COVID, or defend 9/11, or defend any of this garbage, or, think that, Kurt Cobain really killed himself because, oh man, he was just so depressed. And just the way so it is, it's difficult in some sense. But I just kind of, go with the flow generally in life, and just kind of work with a lot of things, because at the end of the day, it's very hard to get people, for the most part, like, out of where they are. Like, that's why I like, one thing I'd love to do would literally be, like I always say, like, teach children, because I know with like children, I could teach them, I could work with them, I could get somewhere with them. You know, most adults, they're stuck in their ways. They're not changing, you know, especially once they hit their teens or 20s or 30s, you know, especially after their 30s and 40s, 50s, 60s, they don't want to change. Most people, they're stuck in their ways. And um, most people don't want to go down these roads because, like I said, it's going to bring them down. And they'll even tell you, it's like, yeah, it just, you know, it's so depressing. It just brings me down and stuff. It's just, so there is that. But I feel like I feel like sometimes it's not the fact that I even talk or say anything. I just think it's my presence being there, my aura, the way I look, just the vibe, just the, you know, the frequencies, the energies, the vibrations, you know, kind of bouncing off me, and just the way I just kind of just walk into a room, and just that just kind of draws people in. Because I mean, there's no one that really looks like me, there's no one that acts like me, there's nobody like me. So it's just like, oh, there's Austin. I think that's kind of what it is. It's just having that charisma and that toughness to be you. And I think that is what it is. I think that is what really draws in all the power. And then you just kind of take it from there. Like, you are this character, and you are the ultimate because of just how rare you really are. And just everyone just kind of feeds off that. Everyone just kind of, you know, gravitates off you because you're that outlier. It's like, without you, it's like there's not, you know, there's no flavor, there's no variety. So that, I think that's the biggest thing. I think it's just, you know, people see you, and it's the power of just being you and just being out and being around. And I think that's the biggest part of it, just getting out that little bit.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. And you mentioned being able to like read the room as well. You know, one thing I'll add to that is, you know, we've talked about this. I think I alluded to it a little bit when we were talking about relationships, and I was talking about, you know, what gave me my edge with girls in school and stuff like that. How, you know, it's not like I was some crazy jock or anything. I did play sports and things, but you know, it wasn't that really set me apart. It was, to be honest, it was having a almost clairvoyance to be able to read the rapport of the person I'm speaking with or the people I'm around. Like, I can read our rapport. Like, I'll know if somebody dislikes me. Yeah, those things can be easier to see. And same with like the either end of the spectrum. It might be easier to realize that somebody likes you or dislikes you. But I would be able to tell like nuanced things just through our conversations or how they're acting or whatever, like that, which gives you a leg up psychologically. And when you're talking to somebody, you'll know if they're, you know, prone to thinking something's funny or, you know, an advance, if you will. Especially, you know, this is less of a problem for me back in my day, but nowadays you hear about horror stories about just, you know, trying to make an unwanted advance could land you, you know, with a charge at the end of the night, you know. So watch out. Not saying that's true or false or whatever, but it's just like the narrative is more geared towards keeping us in our bubble, and at the end of the day, that's what you get, especially with, you know, the falling away of males in society. We've talked about this at length too. There's always more to talk about with that. Not saying we're closing that chapter, that's for sure, but just pointing out that, you know, my experience with what you're talking about has been from being able, you are like you said, you can read people, but the way I read people, it's almost like I was doing like a logical, like concerted effort, and you were energy based. Does that make sense? Like, I had like, what was that show back in the day whenever like the psychologist for the FBI would like have like mathematical formulas go in his head, and when he was like figuring people out. That was kind of like that for me, whereas for you it's like you mentioned, it's like aura based and uh, energy based. And I totally get that, because so anyway, that's what I have to say about, you know, how I kind of interacted with the people around me and what it was based on. Of course, these are in closed systems where I'm with those people anyway. When it comes to being like open and things of that nature outside, and let me try to wrap this up, not wrap it up, but that's just yet close to. But let me try to wrap it back around to what we're talking about, because you did it very eloquently, the naivety of people and how that affects us. Well, it might seem like we're just going off on a tangent, and we're kind of tangenting, but tangents are tangential. They're close. They're close to the topic. So these things are all related in their own ways. But never mind that. But when it comes to being naive, we were talking about the newest headlines with the whole Trump and Elon falling out thing, and that's kind of sort of this crescendo to as of this moment right now to decades of them inundating us with psychological tests and operations in order to really break us down. And what you see, I'm not saying it is the cause, sort of, but I remember we've talked about this multiple times. It's one thing I understand, and I can, because I've gone through certain things that everybody else has gone through, and I can galvanize on that we've gone through it, but I do not galvanize on the victim part. That's the part you lose me. So for the 90% of people walking around and who feel victimized and like it's, there's no choice left in the matter, I'm not with that. We need to do something. We need to start making some choices that get us out of this mix quick. But so that's where with humanity, I'm right there with you, as long as you feel like there's something we can do about it. But and so what I mean by the naivety part of it is, with all these operations that have been done, you mentioned 9/11. I think beforehand, when we were discussing what we might talk about, I mentioned Y2K, because I remember that being like an absolute crapshoot back in the day, not for kids, but for adults. Oh my goodness. That shit was like as wild as it got for the 90s, that's for sure. As far as you mentioned the 95 trade or Oklahoma City bombing. I think there was the Trade Center bombing too. That was in the 90s.
Yep, 93.
Yeah.
Kurt Cobain was right in the middle of those two. 94.
Sandwiched in between them. There might be something to look into there. Anyway, and for all I know, there was a 92 and a 91 and a 95, 6 and 7 and 8, thing that they did to us as well. But for the most part, early on, what I remember is, Y2K, like I said, and then the next biggest thing was 9/11, and then obviously you have COVID, and there's the other things sprinkled in, and I'm just using examples everybody can know and think about. And what these things do is they break you down. They break you down psychologically, and we've talked about this with all sorts of stories and sports and all these types of things that at the end of the day really show and are there to highlight how quickly we are to believe the narrative. And what we're kind of talking about is like just outside of that, the human interactions day to day with people that believe the narrative, because I think that has a strong correlation to how much you're willing to interact with your fellow man and your thought process about your fellow man, because we have stories that are galvanizing two sides, two people stuck in holes that don't realize they're in there. They only cohort with the people on their side, and even then they're not willing to go out of their way to meet those people and understand them at an actual personal level. It's just online and through whatever groups they're in that they already share those sentiments. But once again, like you said, we need to realize where to point the fingers, and when we keep rallying behind not group mentality. That group mentality is okay if it's for the right thing, but if we continue to rally around these chosen topics, if you will, these clandestine topics that they want us focused on, we're always missing the broader point, and we're never willing to just think about it. Are you more willing to take a risk? Let me just say, let me just play into that concept to say that it's risky to just be nice to somebody else. But doesn't that make sense that it is risky if you consider 50% of the other people out there with you as enemies? Doesn't that in your mind somehow skew your idea, your ability to just see people for who they are, and that's it? Never mind what they believe in, never mind what they think in their own time. But if you see somebody and they smile at you, or you smile at them, smile back or smile at somebody. It's just that simple. It doesn't have to be complicated. But the complication comes with the idea that you are on a team that can't be nice to the other team. Did I somehow surmise what I was saying there? I'm sorry. Sometimes I don't keep track of everything I said. I do. Like I'll be able to remember everything I said and everything, but sometimes I don't know if my track was straight enough. Did that make sense?
No, you put it perfect, because that is the, it's got to be that all, it's, it's like, oh, you're either a Republican or you're a Democrat, you're either this or you're that. Everybody's so quick to judge and pull you this way, pull you that way, and just, that's just the thing. I mean, too many people are just easily offended. I mean, it's not like anyone's gonna say anything or anything to me to offend me. I mean, people are too, they get too offended. They get too caught up in just, I don't really, it's just the way people are today. It's like they have too many easy triggers. People get triggered too easy, and people, and it's like, whether or not I see someone as like say I'm driving, and then it's just like, um I mean, it's just like you'll see, like, Trumpers or whatever, people like that, and or whatever, because you don't really see. I mean, I do see some Biden stuff here and there, but it's really rare. Yeah, but usually it's gonna be like Trump or something. It's just like, oh, you look by and you just go, oh, what a sheep or whatever. But it's like, if you took that away, I mean, maybe you see that person, but you don't know that they support Trump, or that they're a Trump or whatever. They're on either side or whatever. You take that away, and then you don't know that person is one of these people that is into the politics, that they're into the sports. If you take these things away, you don't see that. So it's like you're kind of playing the game. It's like it's like a race, but all the cars don't have manufacturers or sponsors or anything. It's just a race, and then all of a sudden, that's what I mean. It's like when you start peeling back those things, you take away that. It's like maybe that person, maybe they'd be maybe there's something I like about that person. But again, I mean, it comes down to people not. I mean, it's the same thing with religious people too. I mean, and a lot of people, it's like, you might bring up something like, oh, well, there's going to be, there's going to be a, um, universal basic income or something. And they're just, and they might want to argue or be like, oh, well, it's like, you're not saying that it's 100% going to happen. It very well may happen. It might be here a year or two from now. It might be here by the end of the year. Who knows? But you're bringing that statement into fruition, and it's like that with anything and everything. It's just like people that they want to. And I think that's the one thing on me is, I'm so open-minded and stuff. It's like I know how to, like, kind of maneuver with some people, because some people, it's like, even though if they had a discussion with me that maybe they don't like or agree with what I'm saying, but it's like they'll still like me for either, it's like they're still going to give me a compliment. They like the way I look, or they like the way I do things, but maybe they just think I'm whacked out, or I'm crazy, or I'm weird, or whatever. Oh, well, it's just like how people look at your overall. I think that's what it is. And I think a lot of people, they're caught up in, too much of, like, ideologies, because everyone's so alone today. That's the thing. Everybody, for the most part, they spend more time alone than they do outside and engaging with other people and talking with other people. So most everyone's life is either consists of, videos or YouTube, or they're spending more time inside their head, and that's where all this is really stemming from. But when you when you put that out into the world, who you are and like your own creativity and all that stuff, that's that's really where it is. It's like that's why I always say, there's no way today with the way things are going that we're gonna win or make a. There's no winning today on the internet. There's no coming together, working together on the internet. We didn't come together, me and you off the internet. We came together in person, which then led to doing things on the internet. It's like the days of reaching people and doing stuff on the internet. Yeah, there might still be like YouTubers out there and people that you can, find and talk to and stuff. But to me, it starts in person. I know like back in like 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, 2016, you could still do those stuff on the internet, but we're not in that time anymore. They're taking that away. I mean, uh, and I think that's the thing. If we could get people off the internet and get people off of it and kind of get them to put it down, I feel like that's really our only shot, because I feel like everything is being won and lost on the internet. And when with AI and all the tech now, it's just it's a losing game. And especially with the way they control everything and what people see and how they censor, especially people that still watch the news. I mean, so that's just the problem. I mean, it's the technology takeover instead of people coming together. Well, people are together and they're coming together. It's a totally different vibe. And whether or not you're getting positive feedback or reactions in person or not, you're still getting it. And a lot of people that are self-isolated aren't getting anything. They don't get no good, they don't get no bad, so they don't even know where they stand. That's why I think things are so distorted, because people really have lost their minds, because they're stuck in their mind. They can't even come out of their mind. Today it's a psychological world. It used to be more, it was always psychological, but it's way more psychological now than ever. It used to be, more physical, how hard you worked. I mean, that's what it was about. Now it's about, it's just different. It's totally different. I mean, and that's where most people are failing. That's why most people are so far behind. That's why things are the way they are. Um, like I said, I mean, if that's the hardest part, is you just don't have, especially like I said, these younger people, because they don't know what it was like to not have the internet. They don't know what it was like to, go outside, have an airsoft war, and go play with your friends, and go ride mountain bikes, and use your imagination. You go play football, go play outside, go wrestle around, uh go do this, go try that, go make these little jumps for your bike or whatever, like come together with your neighbors, have a little football game or something, or um just do little things like that. Maybe it's just playing with little toys or something. That's what's missing today. It's everyone is caught inside the what they have created. It's really hard to explain if you're younger than me. You weren't around when there wasn't, things weren't all the way people are now. I mean, everyone today is, for the most, like I said, they're alone. They don't go out of their house. They don't do anything. They don't socialize. So that's where we're losing. We're losing on that front. And um, most people today, they just live on the internet, or they live on the TV. Some people it's TV. Some people it's movies or television or whatever. I mean, uh, and it's hard, because that's just the way pretty much everybody is today. Most people, they don't really want to do much more. That's the world we're in. That's the world they created. And like I said, unless we find a way to go back to the way things were, say 25, 30 years ago, um yeah, I don't really see things changing or much hope, because everyone's just uh I mean, even the days of trying to get this information out, trying to get people to participate, or you know, even have enough people like something or comment on something, or it's almost impossible to do that. It's just a frustrating, annoying time we're in.
I can double down on. Real quick, then I think we'll wrap this bad boy up. I'll send us off this time. You were talking about all those things where, dude, every single thing you listed was my entire life as a kid. Like, that's all I cared about doing, and that's all I did. Mountain biking around the neighborhood, making jumps in the road out of just like flat stuff we could find. Dude, everything you listed. But one little nuanced part of what you said, is like rounding up the neighbors to play football. I would go door to door to strangers' houses, asking if they had kids that wanted to play football that I did not know. Hey, you got any kids in there that want to come outside and play?
The airsoft pack, man. There are 10,000 packs of airsoft because I don't even see that stuff anymore. There was airsoft guns, all that stuff. We'd have airsoft wars, all that stuff. I don't even see those big packs of stuff anymore. Like all that stuff there was, it's all gone now. I mean, where even is it?
Too many people holding up stores with cutting the orange tips off. The orange tips.
Yeah.
But yeah, everything you listed was, man, that was just nostalgic as hell. But it also painted a picture of, the opposite of what we're talking about. We had this sense of togetherness that wasn't enforced. It wasn't reinforced by anybody. It's not like my mom and the people around me or the adults around me were like pushing this on me to be this way. It's just something innate that it was taken from people. You got to realize that, people. You guys lost something. It's not that you need to gain it. Well, now you need to regain it, but you need to regain it. You had it before. People had the want and the drive and the motivation to work with other people. That's what has made us live for as long as humans have lived. However, debatable. But, that's what is the driving force. And what do you think the driving force is now? It's going the other way, people. And that's why lifespans are dropping. All these things are dropping. We can get into the esoterics and the fun stuff about that. And I'm down to get into that as well. Leave your talk and, leave it in the comments, whatever your take on that is, because, I'm probably right there with you, or at least can argue with you happily. I mean, when I say argue, I don't mean fight. But you mentioned another thing about, the psychology of things and how they're able to influence people. And what you're mentioning, it has to do with uncertainty. That is a powerful, if you control the narrative of people being uncertain about something, you own them psychologically. Think about all the wars that have happened, that continue to happen. Why did people run out and buy toilet paper? What was it? Because they were certain something was going to happen, or just in case? Just in case was their mindset. Obviously, this is a fringe idea. It's like, what the fuck are people doing? That was insane and stupid. And never mind all the other stuff. That's almost like the worst blemish on. That's one of the biggest blemishes on America, in my opinion. It's like yeah. Slavery and toilet paper are neck and neck. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, yeah, uncertainty is the driving factor. And when you have that much uncertainty in society, you have people dropping out of their roles in society. And that's, I'm not even talking about I'm talking about what I've been talking about this entire conversation is you have people being taken advantage of that don't realize they're being taken advantage of. What does that equal? If you look it up in the Merriam-Webster's dictionary, they're naive. You have too many people walking around naive, not in a good way, not red rose colored glasses. That's not the naive we're talking about, by the way. Neither me and Austin have not been talking about happy-go-lucky naivety. This is a different form altogether. And I'm not saying one is necessarily better than the other. You really shouldn't be naive. It's okay to have, there's a certain naive nature when it comes to people and your family, and that's called trust. And that does make you naive to things. That is what happens. But you don't want to be too much of the opposite either. You don't want to be paranoid and doubtful of people that you love and should trust either. I'm not saying to default into negativity. That's not what I'm saying. But what my point is we're talking about this like negative aspect of naivety that needs to be extinguished in order for us to see each other for the human and the brothers and the neighbors that we are, and not some other group and some other warring nation. And until that's more instilled, and by the way, we only got to the tip of the iceberg. So I feel like this is going to be an extension next week. We're going to, hopefully we get some community participation, and maybe, drop a comment about something that fits this description of something that's happened. I don't know how old everybody is that watches us, but I'm sure that there was things that took place in the 70s and 80s that I'm not exactly hip to. I understand the wars in Vietnam and stuff like that, but there might be other things that are worth mentioning that kind of highlight this plague of narrative driven psychosis that people are under. Obviously the Great Depression did a number, and all they had was the written word back then for the most part, in radio, or maybe. So, no, they did. But you still see what they were able to do and affect an entire generation in the next one, and they're still able to. They're obviously, technology has done but done a great job of advancing that path for them to be able to affect us easier. And wherever we are, they can reach us and affect us in whatever psychological way they want us to move. And the naivety comes from us not knowing that naivety is not knowing, as far as I'm concerned. It maybe has a more broad definition than that, but that's what I think about, is that it has a sense of like, rose colored glasses, like, but at the same time you can be naive but not think there's a positive spin on everything. Most people that walking around naive, as we're putting it, aren't like super positive people. They just are naive to what is ruling over them. And if they can become less naive about these things, yeah, it's like I said, it's gonna hit you first. It's gonna smack you right across the face. I was gonna say like Will Smith, but we all know that wasn't real. This is gonna really slap you. So I think I'll close it out with that I think we'll extend this out to next week unless something else comes up. But obviously community participation would be greatly welcomed, whichever way. I don't care if it's good or bad. I don't see things as just good or bad. Everything has its purpose. But hit us up. We have the scrolling email at the bottom there. Feel free to leave, broader suggestions wherever you want. I don't care if it's a long comment chain in the comments too. Whatever you feel like doing, but just get involved with us, and don't be that fly on the wall that doesn't extend themselves when they have the chance, because we all close our eyes for the last time at some point. And so we got to start, not saying to have some like morbid idea of like day-to-day life and think of it that way, but it is a fact of life that it ends. And what do we want to spend our day-to-days doing? Do we want to overtake as many cars as we can in traffic, or do we want to let our neighbor in at the on ramp? The on ramp. Are you guys fucking blind? It's not a cut people off and make sure they can't get on ramp. Anyway, we'll have our like Jerry Seinfeld. Well, what's with traffic? Talk some other time in more detail. But yeah, for that, that's my spiel. It's not nearly as eloquent as you finish off these episodes, I'm realizing, but it's the best I could do. Any last quick thoughts? And we'll say sayonara.
Yeah, I like kind of doubling down on this for 39, and yeah, we'll continue this and probably come up with some more things to add to it as well for 39. 39 should be a good one. Brings us to mid-June, so I'm thinking should have plenty to cover with that. Of course, we'll have the Mexico race, so that'll be interesting as well to see how that plays out. And the yeah, like I said, brings us to mid-June, and then Mexico race. I like these relationship type things we've been doing, and there's a lot more to say and add to it. Yeah, we were saying, just I know, like in the last episode too, I was trying to see if trying to do a little Jeremy Mayfield to Dale Earnhardt, trying to rattle some people's cages, see if they could get trying to get some feedback. Yeah, I know there's not a lot of people that even hit there. I don't know. It's always like 4 or 5 likes. I don't know why the likes are always so low, but yeah, the likes, comments, all that stuff. Yeah, try and leave more of those. Try and get people to get involved any way possible. Just what people like or don't like. I mean, it doesn't have to be like I was saying. It's not always you have to be positive. I just think it's better to just not be like so much neutral all the time. It's sometimes, if it's negative, or you like something or don't like something, or maybe you want to have something that you want to add or say, or come up with, or whatever. I mean, that's greatly appreciated, because we are closing in on 40 episodes, and we're also closing in on, it'll be almost 10 months since we first met, and almost 9 months since we started the channel. So we've only had King Richard on. He's been our only guest, and yeah, there's not. I mean, I generally know there's a few people I know that do watch and leave comments and participate and stuff. So I know kind of who those people are and stuff. But yeah, I would definitely like to see more, and would definitely help the morale and try and get things booming a bit more. Like I said, we were kids. It was different. We were doing stuff. We might crush a can and smash a can down in your bike, and or you had a little card, make it sound like a dirt bike, make it sound like it had an engine. That's the kind of creativity we're looking for. Just whatever you can do to spice things up. I mean, whether it was wrestling in your room, or playing the PS2, or you weren't wrestling, you're playing the PS2, or playing football outside, or airsoft wars, or airsoft guns, or coming up with some kind of creativity stuff, mountain biking, making little jumps, cutting, making little figure 8 tracks, whatever it was, playing with toys, whatever people can do to bring something to the channel would be awesome. Especially, it's summertime, and it's nice when it's, summertime, and you got everyone kind of coming together like, we used to do like 25, 30 years ago. It's, everything's kind of dead right now. I know Zach's kind of got the same thing going on his channel, just trying to get things going and booming, trying to get people involved, and trying to get something happening. Because I know, like I said, everything's kind of dead. Channel's kind of dead. The morale's kind of low. So yeah, it's definitely a very important time to boost it up however you can, whatever you can do. And yeah, I think hopefully, like I said, 39, if people have something to add for 39, 40, obviously, like, we want to keep doing these relationship type things. We'll just keep adding a little bit every single week, pretty much, at least for now. At least for next episode as well, until someone kind of maybe comes up with something else to add, or maybe a different direction we should go. Or that's the thing, without like a lot of feedback, it's hard to know what people actually like and want to hear, and want to, because you don't, like I said, you don't have any good or bad, or anybody kind of saying anything. So it's just kind of like we're just kind of keep going the way we've been going. I like we've been doing. I think that we've kind of been bringing a decent amount of things to the table, making the thumbnails funny too, and getting people to kind of, whatever people are, whether into the comedy aspect, just like to hear us talking, or like the little gematria parts we add, the NASCAR parts, the racing parts, or maybe they like the talking parts, relationship things. So yeah, I'd say that's pretty much all I got. Yeah, until we meet again for the big 39.
Well said, and I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, look out for Danny boy. You got
Yep.
Danny one week, Danny the next. Well, without for that should sign us out. I feel like that was a great episode. I had a lot of fun. Take it easy, guys. Peace.
Peace.